Okay, y'all, I'm sorry. I had to see it for myself, child. Woo, Lord. Won't he do it? Yes, he will. Um, for those of you that didn't know, and I know y'all did, but I just gotta say it out loud. Breaking news. News that will break you. Jesus. Um, oh my God, did y'all have to write it like that? What the hell? Mr. Reed had been scheduled to die on Wednesday. Celebrities, politicians, the state parole board, and these fabulous people in these YouTube streets all argued for Rodney Reed to be released. Rodney Reed. Okay, a Texas prisoner who has long claimed his innocence in the murder of a woman 23 years ago was days away from his execution on Friday when an appeals court stepped in to suspend his death sentence indefinitely. Indefinitely. Not 30 days, not 60 days, not 90 days, indefinitely. The dramatic decision by the Court of Criminal Appeals in Texas halted the execution of the prisoner Rodney Reed and ordered the court where he was originally tried to consider new evidence in the case, including testimony from eyewitnesses who have come forward in recent months pointing toward the victim's fiance as another suspect. Won't it do it? The court's ruling came just hours after the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles had also supported halting the execution and recommended that Governor Gregg Abbott grant a 120-day reprieve for Mr. Reed, 51, one of 215 prisoners on Texas death row. I have tears streaming down my cheeks, said Andrew McRae. That joker named McRae. One of Mr. Reed's lawyers, after learning of the parole board recommendation. By granting the indefinite stay and sending the case back to a trial court, the Texas Appeals Court, the highest criminal court in the state, provided Mr. Reed's defense team a sweeping victory. At every turn, we have asked for a hearing at which we can present the evidence in full on Rodney Reed's innocence. So it is extremely rewarding that we can finally have a chance to fully present his case in court so it can be determined that he did not commit this crime. Okay. They added that they had just spoken to Mr. Reed's mom. She was relieved. She was elated. Mr. Reed was convicted of the 1996 murder of Stacey Stites in Texas. Miss Stites, who was 19 at the time, was strangled and her body was dumped alongside a rural road. Rest in peace, Miss Stites. Prosecutors said she had also been raped and Mr. Reed was arrested based mostly on DNA tests. He maintained that he and Miss Stites had been having an affair, which would explain how his DNA was recovered from her body. His lawyers have been arguing previously that the state's forensic investigators made critical errors regarding the timeline of the killing, which some investigators later admitted in their affidavits. The investigators admitted that they were wrong, that they lied in their affidavits. I'm just saying. Most recently, at least 3 people have come forward with new testimony regarding Miss Stites' fiance, Jimmy Fennell. This is the former police officer that I was speaking about. Man, y'all better go ahead now. Mr. Fennell is a former police officer who was released from prison in 2018. He pleaded guilty in 2008 to kidnapping a woman he had encountered while on duty. The woman said that Jimmy Fennell raped her. He kidnapped her and raped her as a police officer. But y'all don't want to believe that he could have did this to his fiance. Let me go on here. A man who served time in prison with Mr. Fennell said in a sworn affidavit last month that he had heard Mr. Fennell confess to killing Miss Stites because she had cheated on him with a black man. Mr. Fennell's lawyer, Robert Phillips, said that Mr. Fennell denies killing Miss Stites. Well, of course he's denying it. Duh. It was unclear whether Friday's ruling would lead to a resolution of one of the most contentious issues in this case. Mr. Reed's lawyers have pushed for the murder weapon, Miss Stites' belt, to be tested for DNA evidence, which has yet to happen. Part of the belt was found on the scene. The other part was found on the ground right outside of the truck. Mr. Fennell's truck that was in a school parking lot. And this body, Miss Stites' body, had been transported in this truck. And part of her belt was found on the ground outside of the truck. It doesn't say that, I'm just letting y'all know. Mr. McRae said he expected that an evidentiary hearing would take place in another 4 to 6 months, in which the new witnesses would testify and other evidence would be examined in court. He said it was possible that Mr. Reed's defense team would also subpoena Mr. Fennell. Won't he do it? Other witnesses could still come forward, Mr. McRae added. It's still an open investigation. Would you look at that? I want to make sure that anytime the state does use that ultimate final punishment, said Mr. Cross, who supports the death penalty, that we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that was the person who committed the crime. That's all we ask for. Before you go trying to execute somebody, if there is, boy, I tell you right now, Texas runs the nation's busiest death chamber. That is nothing to be proud of. Since December 1982, when the state resumed carrying out capital punishment after the Supreme Court reinstated the death penalty in 1976, Texas has executed 566 men and women, more than any other state. Wow. Y'all better quit playing. And you gonna tell me to leave God out of something? You gonna tell me not to talk about God? Man, y'all better quit playing now. Quit playing. Y'all don't understand how I feel right now. Oh my God. I tell you, y'all just don't understand, child. To work in this system every day and see so many things go wrong. To see something go right. Oh my God. I just don't understand. Oh my God. I was trying to figure out how, I'm sorry, y'all. I was trying to figure out how I was gonna, this thing had me questioning my job and everything, whether or not I can still do this. Whew. Jesus, I literally sit with people every day, counseling them, talking to them, and I have to see people that I know have 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and to see somebody get a break. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. Nobody knows. But in the midst of all this mess, sometimes the justice system works.